Hi, I'm Alex Blankenstein, licensed clinical mental health counselor here at Circles of Grace Clinic in Murray, Utah. Reaching out today to share a little bit about the importance of making repair in relationship and how sometimes we get it wrong with this understanding that we've all learned and have been modeled for us that harmony is the most important thing in relationship. That's a notion that goes back quite a long ways, that if we can just prevent conflict or disharmony from happening in a relationship, then everything will be well and fine. When in reality, what I see in my decade of experience working with men and women and couples and trauma and betrayal, and even in the families that I work with, where there's high levels of conflict between parents and children, this notion that we can prevent the conflict from being there or the disharmony from being there puts a lot of stress and pressure, and in reality it leads to a lot of behaviors that are disingenuous and are cover-ups in order to create a kind of a fake sense of connection or harmony. In men in particular, this looks an awful lot like compliance or being the nice guy, which in turn leads to a lot of resentment on the part of men in particular. And this is what I see happening in these romantic relationships. And today I want to address a little bit about how to make effective repair, particularly the simple concept of how to make an effective apology when we've done something to hurt another person. We are not really well versed in the skills of doing that repair, because once again the irony is that we believe or have been told that preventing the harm in the first place or the conflict in the first place is the most important thing, when in reality our relationships, not just romantic relationships, but all of our relationships are kind of this endless cycle of harmony, disharmony, and then repair. And that repair is really truly important when it comes to creating safety and trust in a relationship. That notion that we're taught that we should avoid that disharmony can create this temptation to be a lot of things that we're not, when in reality it's just necessary to go through that process. The cycle of harmony, disharmony, and repair, first of all, is just really important that we embrace that is just a part of our relationships. And in fact, if we can properly build the skills to go through that repair phase, then we put ourselves in a better position to feel closer, to feel seen by our partners. So apologizing is a central component of doing this repair. So let me talk a little bit about kind of the anatomy of the disruption to the relationship, particularly what I see, especially in these cases where there's been some pretty big things that have happened to disrupt the relationship throughout. In my case, I work with trauma, betrayal trauma that happens in the relationship. There may be an affair or something like that that's happened. And so there's already kind of an essence of distrust or mistrust in the relationship. So a lot of little things that happen, current moment, particular situations can be extremely activating or triggering for one of the partners in the relationship. And so a disruption might occur, something particular such as, the husband or the spouse is late for whatever reason. Maybe they're late from work or late from an event that they've been at, and that could be pretty triggering for a a spouse in a situation where there's been betrayal, or it can just be aggravating and irritating in cases where there isn't a big betrayal or a big trauma. But what tends to happen is the same cycle, is that there's the particular event, the person's late, and then it escalates to this pile up, if you will. You're late, but you were also late last week, or you were late earlier this week or yesterday, or we're going to focus on all of the times that you've been late. And then the escalation to the next level, which is you're always late. Some of that black or white, all or nothing speak that we hear. And so it's you're late, you've been late a lot lately, and the trend is you're always late. And then we get into kind of that character defamation, which is you're selfish, you don't care about anybody, you don't care about me, and you only care about yourself. So each move up this escalation ladder, the more and more helpless one becomes, because there's nothing really you can do about having been late, the actual particular event. And it's very paralyzing, and often men describe it as feeling very stuck. I can't do anything about that. And so the whole situation becomes very paralyzing and stuck. If I can't do anything about this moment to make it better, I can't undo that I was late. And then we also get sucked into that escalation. I must be a terrible person. There's nothing I can do to fix this. There's nothing I can do to undo any of this giant sweeping character defamation that my partner sees in me. So foundation for a good apology. In this moment, I just really encourage people to put themselves aside for a brief moment. When it comes to a state of disrepair, it's kind of a one-way street. We have to focus on the other for that moment. It's not a time for tit for tat, for looking into what the other has done wrong, or let's talk about how I'm not always late, and that's not true. That'll come later. In the moment, it's really important to learn how to de-escalate the situation. So part of an effective apology is learning how to bring down that escalation quite a bit. And how do you do that? Well, first, taking an empathic view, an empathetic stance when it comes to your partner. Be willing to hear what they're saying. Can I repeat what it is that they're saying? Just really understand the perspective taking from the point of view of the partner. In this moment, when it's really escalated, it is really hard to kind of focus on objective reality. There is no objective reality. It just doesn't exist in that moment. It's very subjective, so you have to kind of put yourself aside and acknowledge whatever you can about what your partner is saying, what they're experiencing, and doing it in a non-defensive way. Be as vulnerable as you can. As Terrence Real said in one of his books, or said several times in his writing, you really have to show or bare your neck to those teeth in that moment. And that's a vulnerable thing to do, but it really does do wonders for disarming the aggrieved partner. Don't scan for what you disagree with, but scan for what you can agree with in that moment, and do that perspective taking. So the more you show that you get it, the less punitive that partner is likely to be. So then what really, really works is to take yourself up that escalation ladder. So it's not self-deprecating in this moment, but it is kind of acknowledging that you do have some faults that you're working on. And this is going to help lead to your partner feeling understood, but also that you take it seriously. So I am late. You're absolutely right. I'm late. It's not the first time I've been late. It's very likely that it won't be the last time that I'm late. I'm not expecting to be perfect. I'm late quite often, to be honest, and I do tend to keep people waiting. And I have to admit that I can be pretty selfish with my time and with my energy, and I do prioritize my wants and desires and time over yours and over others, and that's something that I'm really working on. And kind of to capstone or encapsulate all of this, kind of this little script that I teach people. Hey, the fact that you are so angry right now about me being late is evidence of all of the times that I've been late, and the things that maybe I've done that have helped create a story that you're not important to me, or that I don't prioritize you or others over myself. And I'm really sorry about that. No wife, no spouse, no anyone really should have to, that's really unfair for me to do that to people. And so I'm really sorry about that. And really important, is there anything I could do or say now in this moment that would be helpful? Because we can't go back and undo the fact that we were late. We can't go back and undo a lot of the things that we've done in the past that may have helped create the story, but we can't acknowledge, in this moment, this is all evidence of why this story might be being told by our partner. But is there anything I can do now in this moment? And then do it, and be willing to do what it is that they ask, okay? When you're faced with an unhappy partner, you put yourself in their service. It's not about giving in to them. It's not about necessarily even buying into their story that they're telling, but it's about responding with compassion, with generosity, with empathy and understanding. And that's going to help sustain your relationship and sustain you. It's also a compassionate approach to your own faults, being able to take accountability, but not own up to this giant sweeping statement that your partner's made. So I hope this is helpful. How to apologize effectively. This can even help you in how to receive an apology effectively, and will hopefully help you move forward, growing and learning in your relationship, staying connected, staying close to one another. If you want to know more about me, feel free to go to circlesofgrace.health. And I will be posting some additional information about how to contact me directly to set up maybe a time to meet. If you want to do any additional work on your relationship or yourself, would love to help you out.